Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We got not too big of a haul this week, so let's get started. Kicking things off, we've got X-Men number 11. Where we left off, things. Both Orcus and last issue, Wolverine had attacked Orcus's Dyson sphere orbiting Mars, thinking that there was perhaps a clone of her aboard the station. It turned out to actually be Lady Deathstrike. Deathstrike was healed with a blood transfusion from Wolverine, and that was. That said, in the more ongoing things, the X-Men are, of course, looking into Game World, which has been leveling various extinction level events at the Earth. We open with a quote from Rocket. Hey, Gambit, we got to get a hold of our bookie and see if we can make bets about how Game World shits the bed. Can we short a casino? Yeah, my rocketed voice kind of blows. But then, in the not too distant past, Mojo was visited by a lawyer. Now this kind of seems weird because it kind of implies that Mojo is running Mojo World on his own again, as opposed to being under contract by Krakoa. But he is. But it turns out that he and Cordyceps Jones have an understanding. Or at least are somewhat involved. In the present, Polaris, Jean Grey, Rogue, and Wolverine arrive at Game World in their Hellfire Gala looks, bringing Mysterium to basically buy quite the line of credit. And the quartet splits up. There's this brief flashback to Rocket talking about Game World. Kind of explaining it basically. Game World's a new casino, and if the players are gambling on your fate, it's bad luck for you. One day your planet exists, the next it's busted out. When someone decides it's worth more dead than alive. Blam! That's it. Then they got corporations that go through and strip the world for parts. The money and suspicion are laundered through Game World. It's practically its own solar system, so it's not like strict accounting. As for security, they got side hammers, but that's not going to stop Jean. But they got psi alarms, which is way more problematic. Meat-wrapped robots whose only gig is to sniff out the big brains. Apparently, it's really something. Rocket's happy that he got to see it once before whatever the X-Men are going to do to what happens. And Rogue agrees that the place sure is something. But they, like I said, the quartet go their separate ways. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Iron Man and Captain Marvel are talking with Sunfire at the treehouse, while Captain Krakoa and Sync explore the sewers of New Jersey in search of Dr. Stasis. Back on Game World, Wolverine attacks the goes to get the lay of the security and gets infected with the with Cordyceps Jones fungus. On Earth, Sync takes on the one of Dr. Stasis' creatures, and this said creature is probably sliced in half. Wolverine explained that, or was Sync explaining he's been Wolverine longer than anyone alive, which is true. To throw in some confusion, Polaris uses her powers to basically all the slot machines at once to just pay out bank-breaking jackpots, or multiple house-breaking jackpots. And Jean explains that the gamblers gambling on the fate of worlds have had their fun. They've battered Earth for their amusement, trying to kill the indigenous peoples off of the planet, the native peoples off, and break the planet apart to fund Game World. She adds that if they stay at the table and they seek to profit off the demise of her home, then they gamble more than they realize, and none of them are safe. But Cordyceps Jones shows up with security, including security's newest recruit, Wolverine. Jean is able to take care of Wolverine with telekinesis, while Cordyceps Jones tries to infect Jean with his fungus as well. There's a internal communique from Dr. Stasis, but Captain Krakoa, Cyclops, finds Dr. Stasis in the sewers, and Cyclops manages to blast off Dr. Stasis' mask, revealing that Stasis is in fact a clone of Mr. Sinister. Now, an interesting point. One of Mr. Sinister's more noteworthy physical traits is that in the center of his forehead, he has a red diamond. This Mr. Sinister has a black club in the center of his forehead, meaning there likely is also a red heart and a black spade. And that is where the issue ends. And I gotta say, that was one hell of a reveal. It is incredible to see the Game World story finally get some payoff. Some nods with the nature of the bets made in Game World on Worlds. There is a subtle nod to the Dark Phoenix saga, as for those who might be unaware, during the Dark Phoenix saga, Jean Grey, while possessed, replaced, it's weird, but as Dark Phoenix, Jean consumed an entire solar system. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Captain America: Symbol of Truth, #1. Marvel has decided this year that rather than relaunch Captain America with yet another #1 featuring Steve Rogers, instead we'll get 2 Captain America #1s. One starring Steve Rogers, which comes out sometime soon, I believe, and Captain America: Symbol of Truth, starring Sam Wilson, having once again taken on the mantle of Captain America. I'm sure that his taking on the mantle of Captain America in the comics has nothing to do with him having done so in the MCU. Total coincidence. Sure of it. So, we got two things going on in the American Southwest. Captain America and Falcon are going after a train. Cap got a tip from Misty Knight that there's super soldier serum components on the train. Falcon and Cap break onto the train, fight off some locals. The grunts that the locals use all appear to have the same name, though. Harvey Madsen. But then we have an earlier arc where apparently Sam and Misty Knight having lunch, reminiscing. Apparently, they grew up very. They actually grew up. They learned that they actually grew up rather close together. You know, it's clear. It's one of those like clearly they've known each other for years, but they never realized that growing up they were just a few blocks away. But they see a there's a there has become a social movement called Wakandan Forever. And the fact that it's drawing in so many people kind of is one of those ones where Sam says that this is why I'm retaking, that's why I'm being Cap again. But Missy passes on the intel. They part ways with Missy saying that no, that was not a date. Sam respectfully disagrees. Back in the present, Cap and Falcon deal with the people going after the train, and they don't find super soldier serum component on the train. Instead, they find a bunch of migrants, including Falcon's cousin Louisa. They're taken for medical treatment. Cap suggests that Falcon go with them to make sure everything's on the up and up because they're not entirely sure that the center they're coordinating with is entirely on the up and up. And the issue ends with kind of a lead-in at Cumberland Federal Correctional Institute, where Brock Rumlow, better known as the mercenary Crossbones, is watching the White Sox game. When he's visited by a man who named Hunter, though he informs Crossbones that his colleagues and enemies call him the White Wolf, and he's looking to recruit Crossbones. Saying they're going to overthrow a couple countries, and that if Crossbones helps Hunter, well, Hunter will let him kill Captain America. And that is where the issue ends. An interesting start. So apparently it's Hunter that was talking about Sam at the end of Captain America #0. Interesting. Okay. This is actually the first book I've read, the first Captain America book I've read with Sam as Cap. During Sam's initial run as Captain America, it was one of those points where I was not really following comics, like through reading, just reading news articles. So, I have this is, but. Between this Captain America #0 and Falcon Winter Soldier, I like Sam as Cap. I'd probably go as far as I like Sam as Cap just as much as I like Steve as Cap. Moving on to our next book, though, we've got Hulk vs. Thor: Banner of War Alpha. Where we've left off, for Thor, Mjolnir is seemingly currently possessed of the spirit of Odin, as Valhalla has been emptied. Meanwhile, Bruce Banner has somehow retrofitted the Hulk into a ship, and is traversing the multiverse, and leaving quite the mess. The last issue of Hulk ended with Mjolnir making its way towards Banner. So the issue begins with the Watcher watching in the stands with a bowl of popcorn, being the Watcher, he's watching and delivering exposition. We get some background as to what Thor's been through in Donny Cates' Thor run, as well as what Banner's been through in Donny Cates' Hulk run, with a small reference to Immortal Hulk. But apparently, both Thor and Banner and Hulk have got some voices they're having to deal with as well. And the fight begins on the road of Saccharin before Sif transports them to the Black Hand of God. Built from the severed hand of a Celestial, home to the greatest and most gruesome fighting tournaments that any universe has ever known. As I recall, it's the Black Hand of God where Thor recruited Odin during one of the recent arcs on Cates' Thor run. Apparently, the Black Hand of God also has some quite nice popcorn. But the two combatants go at it, and Thor uses one of the easy things, plopping Mjolnir in the small of Hulk's back so he can't get up. But Banner's able to has access to all of Hulk's memories, including all of Hulk's previous fights with Thor. So he does them a little unexpected, pushing the hammer. He's pulling himself up by pushing the hammer through. But the fight continues. Massive lightning strike rain comes down on the Black Hand of God. And Odin tells Thor that when Mjolnir struck Hulk, he felt something Hulk was more haunted, and so Odin has an idea and insists that Thor let him loose, and so Mjolnir is once again thrown at Hulk. It hits, and inside the control room, Bruce Banner is faced with none other than the Allfather, who would have words with Dr. Banner. And that is where the issue ends. To be continued in Thor number 25. Interesting start to the story. Getting some additional ideas of what happened at the end of Immortal Hulk. But, like I said, interesting so far. it's a Donny Cates story, so I'm pretty much sold on it. But moving on to our next book, we've got What If Miles Morales, number 3, What If Miles Morales Became the Hulk? This is like the last two, basically. In the past, I'm curious. Oh, okay. Prowler is hired by Emil Blonsky to steal a bomb component from Bruce Banner. And as Prowler, but Prowler wants out because he knows how important he is to his nephew Miles. But Blonsky's just like, yeah, no, you can do this, or we can, hurt, or we'll hurt Miles. And so Prowler's like, all right, fine. But the kind of the full the narrative of the issue is a somewhat older Miles at Avengers Mansion in the present, doing therapy with Doc Samson. But Miles knocked over the briefcase full of the bomb component, and there was an explosion. Small, not an explosion, but he was exposed to gamma radiation. That night, he woke up. He woke up, and found he was green, and kind of stretching out his clothes. He showed Gank, and Gank thought it was cool. But here's the thing, though. Gank was there. Gank was there for him. Anytime the Hulk maybe kind of started to come out, maybe it's like Gank would be there to say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, calm down, there, buddy." But apparently, shortly after his transformation, he wanted to see, he discovered first that his uncle was the Prowler, and then saw Blonsky become the Abomination because of the Prowler's recklessness, in all honesty, and then saw Abomination murder the Prowler by crushing his skull. And Miles hulked out, and as he explains to Doc Samson, he beat Abomination to death. And Doc Samson helps him kind of deal with all this, and explaining that the way to control the monster inside us is to envision it as not a symptom of anger, but a manifestation of affection. And once you accept those, once Miles accepts those feelings, he can use that newfound strength inside of him to protect the ones he loves, just like his uncle did. Which I think that's kind of, to be fair, this is probably the most heroic we've seen Uncle Aaron in these. But yeah, but that's where the issue ends. This was different than the other Miles Morales What Ifs, and different is good. The others have been very just we get the origin, we get an adventure, but instead this time we get the origin, and it's largely just it's a therapy session. It might not have the same weight as the Doc Samson therapy issues of X Factor did, but yeah, it's still solid. It's still solid. And we're moving on to our last book for the moment. We've got Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood, number 1. Yeah. So first off, we've got Anubis Rex by Jonathan Hickman and Chris Bachalo. In the future, a new Moon Knight is looking for scarabs relating to Ra. Basically, to ensure that Ra cannot be resurrected. But Moon Knight finds one, and alongside his priestess, or perhaps she's the priestess. Yeah, they find and manage to lock away one of the scarabs. Next up, we've got So White, Yet So Dark. Spider-Man is wanting to ask Moon Knight something, though Moon Knight immediately tells him the answer is no. But they end up working together. And someone has a scarab. And this person also utilizes ghosts, so Moon Knight changes into his Ghost Ripper armor to deal with the ghosts. And Moon Knight gets the scarab from him, apologizes to Anubis, who then fades away. And what it was that Spider-Man wants to borrow from Moon Knight, well, Moon Knight just said that, okay, yeah, Moon Knight can borrow. Spider-Man can borrow it. What is it that Spider-Man wants to borrow? Mr. Knight's suit. And the story ends with Deadpool showing up, wanting to borrow the suit too. Though he is promptly told no. It is also heavily implied that the suit is being borrowed by Spider-Man for the Hellfire Gala. So, and finally, our final story of the issue is the end. So this is actually told in reverse order. It begins with Moon Knight laying in the snow, bleeding out, and things just move backwards. So we'll start at the end. A woman comes to see Mr. Knight. Turns out she's supposed to testify against Don Fortunato in the morning, but Fortunato and his people have heard of this. She was under police protection, and the 5 officers, their blood is currently on her. So Moon Knight changes into, or Mr. Knight changes from his Mr. Knight suit to his Moon Knight suit, and goes to get her to the hospital, or goes to get her to the courthouse. They run a bulldozer. Then some jerk with an RPG. Then an enforcer named Red Blade, who looks kind of like Ninja Iron Man. No, really, he looks like Ninja Iron Man. But he gets some good hits in on Moon Knight. But Moon Knight does still take him down. Sniper Man shoots him though. And just as they're outside the courthouse, and Moon Knight insists that the woman go, and because she can make it. And so the story begins with Moon Knight saying, "Just a flesh wound, not as bad as it looks. He'll be fine. It's all over now." I've enjoyed most of these so far, but yeah, this will be fun. I'm looking forward to the remaining issues already. But that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.